close to the mic for that one too. Just like some punch in the fart box. Sounded fucking sinister.
Dude, just like
Tongue punch.
All right. Oh, jeez, you gotta snort. You gotta snort out of
There's
it.
fucking joy in there.
oh my! I gotta
What
stop
do you like
laughing.
to-
My back hurts.
I am there with you. I don't know what I did. I did something to jack up my back and my neck doing these stupid 100 push-ups or whatever. So
Oh,
today,
yeah.
Like I haven't been able to do anything today. Like I can't look left. I feel like Zoolander. I can't fucking look left. Like it just can't happen. And
I
I
thought you
can't
were going
turn
down,
my body to the right because it fucking hurts my back. So I just walk around like
Hey guys.
sucked all day.
Like a robot.
Basically, yeah. I hope that I'm fine tomorrow. I gotta get back in my. I've done 1,000 push-ups in the last fucking 10 days.
Which
Oh,
kudos. That's
Yeah.
insane.
It's insane, but I was reading the dude's like, if you hurt yourself, like, or if shit hurts, like, take a day off and just like tack
Alright.
it on. You know what I mean? That's so today I took a day off. I can't do it. My neck will not do it. And then I was like, all right, tomorrow I gotta fucking hopefully everything's good, get into it, and go from there.
You should do
That's
a little
it.
yoga stretching or something like that.
I do like 15 minutes every day. Like during lunch, like I do a full stretch to like get my legs and my hips from like sitting in the chair. And I think I need to include more in like my neck and shoulders and stuff. So
Lexi likes the pigeon pose.
pigeon
Oh my
pose.
god, it stretches out. It stretches out your hip muscle,
What's that noise?
butt muscle. That like you do, like whenever your legs are stiff or like you're walking funny because you've just been sitting on your ass for so long. Do the pigeon, and like it just fucking fixes everything. Like you think you need to stretch your quads, you think you need to stretch your calves, you need to stretch your butt.
Mike's
muscle.
writing it down.
No,
Oh,
I do agree. I do my butt because of my hips. My hips are the ones that usually get it. Like my hips pop like sometimes if I don't do it when I stand up. So I sound like a goddamn like Rice Krispie treat. Like
Pop,
I'm
lock,
getting
and drop
up,
it.
Basically, yeah.
you can do the laying down one, but I'm gonna see if I can show you guys real quick. The standing up one is actually a lot better. Let me see. So you like put one knee leg right here, and then you just sit.
Mm.
That fucking thing.
Oh, it
Yes.
feels so good.
That's pigeon.
So if you do that basically, but try to put your crotch on the ground and the other leg behind you.
Okay.
And like what?
So I remember there's this jiu-jitsu guy, and he thought he was having, he's like, I don't know, I thought I was having like back cancer or something. I don't know what the fuck was going on. And his doctor, he went to a bunch of different doctors, and they were like giving him pain reliever or muscle relaxers and shit. And he finally went to a physical therapist. He goes, dude, your ass is tight. Your ass is too tight. He goes, you got to stretch that shit, man. It's all connected. I'm like, oh, he's like, if your ass is too, if it's not, is like, if your ass and your quads and your thighs, if it like all the, he's like, think of your back just extends down. You gotta you're gonna have back issues if your ass is tight. I'm like, oh, interesting. I have no fucking idea.
Can't be a tight ass.
Don't be a tight ass.
All right, hello and welcome back to the third ever Siblings United podcast. I am one of your many hosts, Andrew, here on this fantastic third evening. I'm really excited about tonight's discussion. I think we have a good one tonight, and we have a few surprises in store. So again, my name is Andy. I'm from SoCal, and I'm going to pass it on to the next one.
Lexi, and I am in upstate New York, Rochester, second oldest at 33 years of age.
Oof.
Fucking middle child. I am
right now, but I'm shutting down and angry, and that's what a middle child does, and I don't give a shit.
And I'm Sarah. I am the youngest, and I live in the Finger Lakes region in New York. And yeah.
Nice. So if you've been following along, this is our third one there. We've got them all out there on the... we're actually out there. We're on the Apple's iTunes. We are on the... I believe we're on the Spotify's. We're on the Pocket Cast and your favorite podcast player of choice. So it's kind of cool to see it out there and see it. There's been a couple downloads and seeing people.
I saw it on
listen to this
YouTube.
shit. Yeah, we are up on YouTube now as well. Yes. So no video, nothing video of us. So there's no sharing of that. But we have a nice little image there, but you can hear the podcast as well. I know some people like to put the old YouTube video on and let it roll.
Yeah.
So tonight we have it's going to be a good discussion on the grind of work in that early career and leading on into when you get through it and how much effort that you're putting into it and then seeing that effort, I guess, evolve and seeing the different steps that it takes and how it leads you on to future steps. I think we have everybody here at a little bit different steps and vantage points in their career. And that's why I'm really excited for the person that's telling this story tonight, which is our special guest, Mr. Michael DeMarco. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hey, folks. I'm Mike DeMarco. I live in Watertown, New York, upstate New York, North Country, where I first met the Balser Thorn clan. Happy to be here.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here, sir. I think we're all avid listeners of podcasts, so we know how this goes, and we maybe not, Sarah. I don't know. Are you a podcast listener? How can you make a podcast and you don't listen to podcasts? What is this?
So, I mean, I don't know. Some stuff that I listen to is very Yeah, no, I do watch podcasts.
If you can watch them as well.
Well, okay. I watch whatever Brennan watches, and Brennan watches podcasts. Fighter and the Kid.
I'll see that. Another favorite here among us.
You guys watch that?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's obviously Food Truck Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
So the Brennan Schaub ones. What else? There's other ones. I swear there's other ones.
I have a list of I'm running through of NPR, the Washington Post, BBC, and my other ones that are on Unlock in the Mornings.
I love BBC.
So good. I'm telling you, there's so many good ones.
Except they have all those really terrible English chefs that make wet rice.
You make wet rice, you fucked up. That's all I'm saying. Also, I'm writing this down real quick, then I'll edit it out. Middle child is definitely a topic.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, God.
Middle doesn't have to be dead middle, it just has to be not beginning or not end.
But you could do status. So you could do eldest and the responsibilities. You could do middle and why that,
Hierarchy
and then I could
of children, I like that.
Yeah. Maybe instead of focusing on everything wrong with a middle child, maybe we just do birth order and what that implies and plays out.
We don't have enough podcasts.
Hey, I'm a middle child too. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Because I felt a little attacked.
Oh no, you weren't attacked. You weren't attacked. I knew that.
I mean, we'll get to it. That'll be another podcast.
That's what I'm saying. These are just the topic ideas. I like to have them written down and going from there. The grind. It's a common thing. I think some people see it, and you see it in the movies and TV, and you see the guy, putting in the 80 hours a week, and he's, super American. He's out there and he's working as hard as can be, and whatever 110% bullshit is, that's what you're seeing, and you're seeing that commitment and loyalty and a blind work to it, which is great. And when you're initially starting, that's what you do to put your foot in the door.
Hopefully.
You put your foot down and say, okay, here it is. I'm showing my hard work. I'm showing you're showing dedication, you're showing loyalty, and you're showing all these things, which you should do at the beginning of a career. I don't think that's a bad choice.
Prove yourself.
Right. But I think at some point it also steps into a boundary of it's carried
abuse.
Yeah. I think companies know it. I think they write it out as well, knowing that somebody is new and being like, oh, well, you can't be this engineer because, you just came out of school and you got to have 12 years experience and you got to, be certified in all this and have a master's and...
You can do the job, we just can't pay you for it.
Yeah, we need 12 years of experience for this entry-level job. Must also have a master's degree, pays $12 an hour.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've seen those posts like from Indeed on like Reddit and shit, with that like almost exact fucking description.
It's insane.
Ridiculous.
It is insane, and that's that initial, that's that gullible, naive, because you don't know, and it doesn't. You can get burnt out from a job, like you can burn yourself out. I say from a job and a career. I distinguish those two as separate things. When you work a job, you know you're there for money, but you know that's not your end goal. But when you work a career, it's like, okay, I'm committed to this. This is something I want to do for the rest of my whatever. And so they're two different things, but the same thing can happen no matter where it is. And I think we have a couple of good examples of both of those. I think all of us do. But the main one was we had a discussion on Taco Tuesday, as we do, a little behind the scenes, where we don't talk shop, but we have Taco Tuesday. And we had a story that was, I don't know, I thought it was perfect. It was personal. It was telling how easy it is to forget some things that we talked, like self-care in the very first episode, of taking care of yourself, taking the time to do the things that you do. And I think even a little bit of second episode of saying sorry and apologizing for things. Sorry. Oh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Oh.
Of taking it into there.
I apologized to a man in the grocery store. I fucked up. And he didn't even acknowledge my presence. It was one of those situations where he came around the corner real fast, almost ran into me, but I was taking up too much space in the aisle. I was like, oh, sorry about that. Don't need to take up the whole aisle. Deadpan, straight ahead, didn't even look at me, nothing.
You cannot be a woman and apologize for taking up space. Fuck that. Fuck that. You're a woman, you have a space in this world, and in that fucking aisle, fuck that guy. Just dead-eye him next time.
Listen, I'm all for that, provided it was in the designated thing. If you're sitting in the middle of the aisle with your cart sideways while you're picking up stuff from the other side of the thing...
My cart was on the opposite side, and I just listen. And I was trying to be reasonable and not block the cooler. So I was on the other side, eyeballing the Ben and Jerry's, and I figured out where my flavor was, what I wanted. So I skedaddled over there real quick and snatched my flavor. But in that moment of me nabbing the Ben and Jerry's, this guy came around the corner real fast.
That's why you never snatch anything.
Did we agree that the proper way to not apologize for taking up, space in an aisle was not to apologize, but to say, oop, I'm going to scoot right past you.
Scoop.
We agree.
Squeak.
Yeah.
You got to squeak.
Squeak. That's all it's squeak.
You announce what
Squeak
you're
right
fucking
past,
doing,
yeah.
and you don't apologize for it. You're going to scoot right past you. Just say it.
Squeaking in there.
Do it.
But I wasn't scooting. He was scooting. What am I going to say? Gonna let you scoot right by? Or just
say, hit
dude,
the
I'm gonna
brake,
do the
scooter. I'm
gonna do what we did. I need to do what we did in Ireland.
In case you can't see, so Sarah and I were walking in downtown Dublin or something like that, and there were these group of other tourists on the sidewalk, and they
would always walk shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, and they were walking,
abreast.
Abreast. So anyway, this girl was like, oh, you tell the fucking story. I don't remember. I'm thinking up in my head.
Well, I mean, just everywhere we went, tourists would always walk abreast of each other, just shoulder to shoulder, and take up the whole sidewalk. So it got to the point where it was just ridiculous, and we were pissed off. At which point you either have to get angry and fight somebody or laugh about it. So I just started whenever anybody would come by, I would just be like. What the I think we even threw in a little
grand gesture,
right.
This way, Saya.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Full servant mode.
Yeah.
You shall pass.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm jelly of that one. We will have to visit Europe again, all together at some point. I need to go in the first place. I haven't been. I need to go to Spain. On a different note, though.
Oh. Have you been?
I've never been.
Anywhere?
I've never been anywhere.
You've never been anywhere? Oh my
We've been
God.
to Canada.
I've never been to a different country besides Canada, and Andy says it doesn't count. So I
work with a lady that's never even been to Canada. We talked about it today.
Yeah, no, I haven't. And there's there's so many places. I mean, I could never go to another country, and I mean, there's so many places in this country that I've never been that are fascinating, awesome, great places.
It's tough. It's expensive.
I mean, take me anywhere. I'll go. Let's go.
That's how you should open up with the girl you meet tomorrow. Let's fucking go. Crab apples and let's go.
Crab apples and not crabs.
Setups are so weird. All right.
As long as it's crab apples and not crabs, you good.
Are crabs still real?
I don't know. I was watching that I'm Dying Up Here. And he was talking about like Clay and like his mom fucking gets him from sleeping in his bed. And I was like, I was dying laughing, trying to work, and I'm dying laughing. She fucking shit.
Wait, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
I heard that they were almost. I mean, at least culturally, yeah. And I don't know if that's real or not, but
I wonder if that has to do with like hygiene practices.
Definitely pubic hair maintenance. Everyone
landscaping.
I'm not sure if we got to pubic hair maintenance from like job burnout, but. What a
It's an interesting first 20 minutes. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, so our let's come back here. Let's bring it back on the tracks, and so like I said, it's the grind. It's that build up in that moment where it kind of goes where finally realization, that snap moment where it brings you back in. And it's like, okay. So it's not all downhill, but it's also a truth, if you will, a realization at that point. So again, I'm going to hand over my my MC skills to you, Mr. DeMarco, if you don't mind, yes. And if you want to begin wherever you want, and we will gladly listen.
Yeah.
Sure. So for me, man, I didn't even know that the term burnout was real. I started feeling this feeling. And then I realized that it's something that I had been carrying around for a while. So before career burnout, there was about 5.5 years of this I'd been experiencing for way longer than I thought. So 2 years prior to going back to school, I found myself what at the time I felt was ridiculously just like deep in credit card debt. That's how I felt because the interest rate was so high, and I was just like, oh, fuck, how am I going to fucking pay this off? So I was working 2 jobs.
As a fellow classman, I will say that is a normal. That is tough. Like you're thinking like late 20s, right? Like late 20s at this point.
I was 26 years old, and I was 26 years old with let's see, I'd spent 6 or 7 years focusing primarily on music. I had an audio engineering degree, which left me basically unemployable in most places. Very small area of where I could, just a small niche market, hard to get jobs, especially in this area. So I was, I was working at Red Lobster, and I actually did land a gig at the TV studio. So I was working at the TV studio. Editing commercials and television stuff, but then also working as a server and just busting my ass, working both jobs.
Where is this at? Is this in New York City?
This is in Watertown.
Oh, it's in Watertown. Okay, so this is
in Watertown. Yeah, I submitted to my credit card debt. I say this now because it was only $5,500, but it was at 29.99% interest rate, and for somebody that wasn't making shit
right
for money,
you're
and
just paying interest.
Oh my fucking god, it was.
You put all the money on, and you don't watch the numbers move at all because it's just interest.
I mean, it's how I funded myself that's how I funded, being in a band.
It's easy though, because it's plastic. You don't see it in front of you. Plastic is that's a topic for another day. But plastic is one of those things that you can't compute it. You can't computate like how big of it is. Like if you make a large purchase, you can't. No, it's not
real money.
Whatever, exactly. It's all digital currency. So
it,
monopoly.
Yeah.
So that caught up with me, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I have to do something about it. So I moved back to Watertown, started working a couple jobs, and I'm just cranking, going, and just whatever the percentage is, I'm just really feeling deflated. But then I paid off. Okay, nice. So now I paid that up. That I had no goal besides that. It was a major victory.
Though? You made debt free.
I was exactly right. So now it's like early summer 2008, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to school. So I get into it, and I get accepted to that fall 2008, and I start hard charging, going after it. I stop hanging out with people that are just like,
dead weight.
No, I took the same focus that I did with learning to play drums, and I put it right into that. And it's obsessed with it. And I'm like, I'm not smart. I need to get smart. How do I fucking do this? Oh, I know. I'm going to live in a library. And that is what I did. I lived in a fucking library. I cut everybody out and just focused.
Gonna insert the
I thought, wow,
at this point.
I'm going to be fucking 30 soon at that time. And I'm like, I have nothing to show for it, not for the Joneses, but for me. I'm like, what the fuck? So they had this weird panic feeling that I funneled the panic, and I funneled the focus into trying to better myself. So
what do you? Okay, so what time frame were we looking at this point? So it's like 2008.
It's 2008.
Okay, so this would have been 12 years prior, right about now.
I was 27 years old.
Yeah. Does say I would have been a father of a 5. This is a bit about the time I think I came back to New York at this point.
Okay.
About 2008, right? 2008, we went back to New York. 2008, 2009, right in that frame. Okay. Continue.
So fast forward a couple years, I'm going to my dream school, and I'm pulling all-nighters. I'm 30 years old, staying up like all night, dealing with that to try to literally compete. And that's how I felt with it, with people that were 10 years younger than me on Adderall, not as a prescription, but as a self-prescribed. They called it Professor Adderall because I fucking refused. I refused. I was like, you're cheating. It made me so upset because it really meant a lot to me. I was following the path.
Is mini meth. It's fucking meth in a mini form. It's goddamn mini meth.
It's how I found Alpha Brain. That's how, and I love that. That's a great supplement. Yeah.
They make a bunch of different. It's like an orange and white bottle, right?
I think so. Orange, black, and white, maybe. It's an awesome supplement, but I mean that I didn't realize it, but at the time that I was going to ESF in Syracuse, I was experiencing burnout. It was the early, no. I was experiencing the early stages of it, where right. I was becoming like a workaholic, and I was becoming super like self-focused, like even more than just because I wanted. It became very, I don't know, almost like a strange level of like hyper self-importance. And I really felt that. I remember feeling out of character because that's not.
But I mean, this is when you're in school, though. You're trying to focus on something that is, to you, this is your future. This is your longevity. This is the things that are going to carry you through as a person. I mean, you have to commit to that for quite a bit.
And maybe that's just a personal thing with me. Maybe that's one of the things that helped contribute to what happened a year and a half after I graduated. In my first job, I was pulling big time hours. Just like I was a willing slave.
Were you salary or overtime?
If I worked over 40 hours a week, I was overtime, but I was underpaid. I was kind of tricked into they allow. It's like there's I didn't realize that with corporations there's so much psychology going on here. It's like
a lot there.
They understand. They were looking for a very particular kind of fish, and that was me. You know what I mean? That type of person, workaholic type. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll work 6 to 7 for 4 weeks.
Jesus.
Exactly right. Yeah, there was that type of thing. Certain times a year, that's normal. That's just the norm. So depending on the industry. So one day I find myself really feeling proud, very euphoric. Like, wow, I can't believe I just worked like 4 13-hour days. Wow, this is great. I'm learning so much. And I go home and I feel this, I lay down just to lay down for a second. And I feel this overwhelming feeling of, oh my God, what if I fall asleep and I don't wake up? And then I just start to spiral.
Ooh.
I just start to spiral. And then I think that I overdosed myself on a fungicide that I was using that day, which I did not. I thought I had all these crazy irrational thoughts, and all of a sudden I'm at my neighbor's house, feeling like I'm running sideways across their lawn, banging on the door, thinking I'm dying because because this
That
started
sounds
happening.
like vertigo.
My peripheral started coming in, and it was black. I was starting to pass. I was hyperventilating, and I didn't know it.
Holy shit!
I was having a panic attack.
Yep, panic attack. Yep.
Okay,
that was the first and only time that ever happened.
So that is the onset of a panic attack, Lex. As a somebody that's the most mental health training,
expert,
education, whatever field of work there. So that would be the onset of a panic attack.
So panic attacks are different for different people, but typically it's an episode of anxiety where it gets the worst within 10 minutes, sudden onset. What Mike's describing, hyperventilating, impending sense of doom, very intense fear, and it literally feels like you're gonna die. Like you
fight or flight.
You won't die, but like your heart is racing, you're sweating, like a lot of people describe symptoms of disassociation, so you don't feel real. Like your anxiety is so intense, the emotions are so intense that like you feel like you're in another world.
Really?
AKA running over to your neighbor's house to make sure you're not dying. Like
Andy, have you never had a panic attack?
Yeah.
I can't say that I've had it to that level now. Like
it was bizarre. I remember laying there thinking, I remember at the moment that I was worried that if I didn't go get help, that I would die, or I could die and no one would know. But also, what about the dog? My dog, so I'm like running.
I mean, okay, listen, so proper concerns are there.
All at the same time. I couldn't remember my name. Like the guy called Lexi. Is this normal too? A symptom. The guy was on the phone with the 911 person. I couldn't remember how old I was. So I couldn't remember things like it was like.
So yeah, so like one of the like a characteristic symptom of a generalized anxiety disorder is your mind going blank. So if we take that and magnify it by like 1,000, yes, what is my name? Wow. Where am I? Like they call it orientation. Like to be alert and oriented, an assessment is, are you alert and oriented to the time, to the place, to the situation, to the person?
Is that why they like ask you all that shit like on a concussion?
Yes. Okay. So like at that time, Mike was not oriented. Like a panic attack can make you disoriented. So yes.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I remember sitting in the ambulance, and we're sitting out front of the place, and and they weren't going anywhere. We're just sitting there. I'm sitting on the stretcher. I'm like, let's fucking go. I thought something was
strapped
real
in. Did they like tie you down?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Arms and shit move, or like...
I'm dying, guys. Let's go.
They had an IV already in me. They had the sticky things on my chest, and I'm just sitting there going, "Where the fuck are we not moving? Like I'm dying here." It was.
It's funny now. It's funny now.
I remember feeling like we were driving so fucking slow. I'm like, this is crazy. Like something's not right because it feels like we're driving 30 miles an hour to the hospital. This is stupid.
Turn the lights on, asshole. Like turn on the
My dog needs to be fed.
And I get there. I was there for like 15 minutes. And this doctor came in. She was very nice. I felt like she was like trying not that she was trying not to laugh, but she was trying to let me know like
you're not dying.
She goes, "Honey, I think you need to sleep."
Damn.
I think
she came to you with the real shit.
Yeah, he's like, I would cut down. She asked me how I was living. I'm like, I was caught in I was getting like 4 hours of sleep every night, and I was drinking so much coffee. I was in a loop that was just.
You got caught in more pots.
I was making a pot of coffee at 6 p.m. because I wanted to, or like 5 p.m. I'd get home and I'd be so tired.
Performance enhancing.
You know what I mean? It was just a stupid loop.
Caffeine also increases anxiety, so you're just
completely like she was like, you should pull back on that. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what? But yeah, I'd never heard from them. I didn't get a bill. I think they just like felt bad for me or something. It like somehow I fell through the loop.
Was it?
But that continued. But then I realized I needed a life change. So I went to a different job where I was more stationary. Like I wasn't. It was more focused on what I wanted to focus on.
But see, you took that as like so that would be the breaking point, right? That would be the point of where it's like, all right, everything is culminated to this point. It's just like on your shoulders at that point, and then you have to do something at that.
Well, I realized that when my boss told me that, you know, when I told him I was thinking about leaving, he kind of had this heart to heart with me. It was very creepy. It was very creepy.
Did he ask you to go on like a private Zoom call?
No, but he sat like this. It was so strange. I remember this sticks out to me. You can't see it. Maybe you can. He like his knees were really like together. It was very like he's a big tall man, but it was like this thing where he like, Mike, I'm looking for a leader, and in my head I'm like, oh, you're trying to get me to.
Are you looking for a top?
He's throwing out the lure with the bobber. That's what he was
doing. No, he was trying to like, because he knows that I have a ridiculous. Is this cocky? I have a lot of integrity in what I focus my energy on. Like
I'm cocky about that.
You know what I'm saying? Like and it pisses me off when I'm working with people that are just hyper complacent. I'm just like, and I don't.
That is the nicest way to call people lazy ever.
Yeah.
Where's my notepad? I need that shit.
Hyper complacent.
For those who don't know, at any point, if you ever have a Zoom or anything else, you need to have a notepad ready, whether that be a computer or a pen and paper. Whatever it is, to write down the recommendals and ideas that go along the day. Highly recommended.
Yes.
So you reach that end point then.
Yeah.
Okay. So shit hippies. Exactly. Shit hippies will be on there. There's a point where we will talk about shit hippies, and I'm so excited.
Shit hippies.
Say shit hippies.
Yep. Shit hippies, dude. There can be shitty people no matter what. There's always going to be shitty people in every category of people, regardless of what there is. Including the hippies. The hippies, there's plenty of shit hippies. We've seen them along our lifespans. It'll be a topic. Maybe we'll bring you back as a special guest to talk about shit hippies.
Shit hippies are on par with.
I can't wait to learn more about it.
I said it.
You said what?
Shit hippies are on par with child molesters. I fucking said it.
There it is.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a strong statement.
They're just one step below Karens. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
At some point, we're going to have to do a video version of this because the facial expressions that you give Sarah are going to need to be captured on video so that we can properly portray them to people.
It's been so depressing wearing a mask all the time. I constantly flash the people that I work with. It's like...
I had no idea what you were talking about, and Mike was just like, Mike did it exactly. He's like,
other than my boss, like, forgetting she was wearing a dress. Thank God for Spanx. Thank God for Spanx.
Oh.
So I just wanted to briefly highlight, Mike, what you're kind of describing, that boss, that feeling of creepiness, by the way.
Yeah.
That's codependency. So I think that like in a work setting where there are no fucking boundaries, aka we own you, we understand that you are a willing slave here, we want to take everything from you. When they like prey upon like, oh, we know this guy has integrity, that like getting in your fucking head and manipulating you, that is a codependent relationship that's unhealthy, and I think that's probably characteristic of a toxic work environment, aka fuel for burnout. Like that, that creepy feeling you got was he's violating a boundary right now.
It felt awful, and I knew at that point it was time for a change. So I did a lot of networking, and I found myself accepting a job in New York City for too little money, and again, now it went from the private sector to the municipal side, and again, I was just fueled by passion, fueled by integrity. I want to learn, fueled by hunger for knowledge. So I think I don't know exactly where this fits, or maybe this is the time to talk about part of that, but at the time and where I find myself currently, it's been intermittent. But like when you're 30 or older, I'm just using that as a placeholder, I suppose, and you're not in a serious relationship, and maybe you're a bit damaged from previous, if you want to call them relationship failures.
We're all smiling.
Or just failed relation.
It's not necessarily a failed relationship. It's a relationship.
Become focused on trying to make like all those efforts that would be going into that, or that would be going into children, or that it just fucking, it's a flood, and it's like, this has to mean something.
Consumes you.
That's the loop that I have found myself in, that I'm still in. I'm just a little less freaked out all the time now. So